Hi everybody, this is Crystal. So today I'm going to show you how to make these newborn houndstooth pants. Now they're just the newborn size, and that's the only size I have available. Like if you want to use them for a photo prop or something. And they do have a little red bow tie, you know, that's optional. But they're actually really easy and they turned out really cute. So I'm going to set my camera down here. And I'll show you what I use. So I'm going to set these to the side. And I used Caron Simply Soft, which is a medium weight for acrylic. You don't have to use this type of yarn, but that's soft for baby, especially since it's a newborn baby. The colors I use white, and I probably used about, not much, 50, 75 yards of the white. And then I use regular black. I use a little bit more of that, so 100, 120 yards of black. And then for the bow tie, I used red, not much of that at all, 10 yards or something, that's just a guess. And I used autumn red. So that's the colors that I used. And you're also going to need some buttons. These are 2 white 1/2-inch buttons. You can use any color, a button, whatever color you're using to match your houndstooth. And for the bow tie, you're either going to need the same size button, or what I'm going to do, I don't have it yet, I'm going to get some Velcro. That way it'll be easy adjustable and easy to put it on. But a button would work too, just the same. I mean, it'll be adjustable. But I'm going to get some Velcro at Walmart and put a little piece on the inside here and on the outside here. That way it can be just put around real easy. You don't have to mess with button in it. But you can do it either way for the bow tie, a button or Velcro. And then I'm using a size H, which is a 5mm crochet hook. Okay, you want to start off with a chain of 50. And once you get your chain of 50 made, you want to follow it down, and without twisting the chain, we're going to slip stitch into our first stitch to form one large ring. So go right into that first one and slip stitch. And then I'm going to chain 1. Now what I'm going to do is work 1 double crochet right back into that same stitch that I slip stitched into, a double crochet. And now I'm going to work 1 double crochet in every stitch all the way around the chain. So just like this. 1 double in every stitch until I get back to the beginning. Just like that. Okay, once you make it all the way around, at the end of round 1, you should have a total of 50 stitches. I know it's hard to see this black yarn, and I'm sorry. But if you have your total of 50 stitches, you want to go ahead and slip stitch into your first double crochet. Not that chain 1 we did, but the first double. And now what we're going to do is chain 1, and then we're going to double crochet right back into that same stitch. And now what we're going to do is just do 1 double crochet in every stitch all the way around. Just like this. So 1 double in every stitch all the way around until you get back to the beginning. Okay, once you make it back around to the end of round 2, what we're going to do is, you still should have 50 stitches. We're going to start the houndstooth now. So I'm going to slip stitch my white color through instead of my black. So what I'm going to do is go into that first double crochet, and I'm going to drop my black yarn. I'm not going to clip it off though. I'm going to keep it on my hook. And I'm going to start my white. So I'm going to pull my white through. And now what I do is I take the tail of my white and this piece of black, and I tie a little bitty knot in it. Nobody's going to know. But that's just going to keep it from slipping away. And then we'll sew the tails in later. Now we're going to start doing our houndstooth, and we're going to be working it in the round. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off by chaining 1. And now we're going to go right back into that same stitch and single crochet. And now I'm going to go to the next stitch and double crochet. And then I'm going to single crochet into the next. And then I'm going to double crochet into the next. And this is the repeat all the way around. Single crochet. And then double crochet. Single crochet. And then double crochet. And I'm going to do this all the way around until I make it back here to the end of round 3. Okay, when you make it to the end of round 3, you should have ended in a double crochet and you should have 50 stitches. So now I'm going to switch colors again. So I'm going to slip stitch into the first single crochet, not the chain 1, but the first single crochet. And I'm going to drop my white yarn, but I'm going to hold it tight. I'm going to pull my black yarn through. So pull that white really tight there so it don't run away from you. But don't clip it. Keep it on there. And now I'm going to do row 4 by chaining 1. And I'm going to go right back into that same stitch and double crochet this time. Last time we started out with a single. Now we're going to start out with a double. And then I'm going to single crochet into the next, and then I'm going to double crochet into the next. So it's just like before, except for it's opposite. We're going to single into the next, and then double into the next, single, and then double, single, and then double. And we're going to repeat that all the way around until you get to the end of round 4. Okay, I've made it to the end of round 4. So what I'm going to do now is slip stitch, and you should have ended in a single crochet this time. So what I'm going to do is slip stitch into my first double, but I'm going to drop my black yarn and pull my white through. Like that, and I'm going to hold that black tight, and now I'm going to start again. So now I'm going to be repeating rows 3 and 4. So I'm going to start this row off with a chain 1 and a single crochet back into the same stitch like that, and then I'm going to double crochet into the next, single, and then double, single, and then double. So it's just a repeat, single and double. So I'm going to be repeating rows. We're working on round 5 now. I'm going to be repeating rows 3 and 4. And whenever you're working with the white color like I am, it always starts in a single and ends in a double. And whenever you're working with the black color, it always starts at the double and ends with a single. So I'm just going to keep repeating rows 3 and 4. Okay, you want to repeat rows 3 and 4 until you get a total of 12 rows, and that's including these very first 2 rows of double crochet. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And you should end in a black. So what we're going to do is slip stitch into our first double crochet, and we're going to pull our white through. Now we're going to tie that black off. We're going to start with making the legs. So we're just going to clip that off. What I like to do again is put just a little knot there so we can sew it in later and it doesn't come undone. I know knots are a no-no in crochet, but I use them all the time, so I guess I'm a rebel. Okay, now we're going to start on the legs. We're going to keep doing the same pattern. So we're going to chain 1 and we're going to single crochet back into that same stitch. And what we want to do is do the single crochet, double crochet repeat over 24 stitches. So this would be 1, and then we'll do a double crochet, 2, single, 3, double, 4, single, 5, double, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24. So you should have ended in a double. Now what we're going to do is come over here to where we started, and we're going to slip stitch there into that first single crochet, but we're going to start our black again. So I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch into there and drop my white, and we clipped our black, so I'm going to bring it back up in here, start it again. So I'm going to pull my black through, and again I'm going to make a little bitty tie there with the tail of the black. That way it don't come undone. And don't clip that white. Leave that white on there. Okay, now we're just going to kind of continue. Put that white over to the side because we're not using it right now. We're going to kind of continue the same pattern. So I'm going to chain 1, and now I'm going to double crochet back into that same stitch. And then single crochet, just like we were doing. Double crochet and single, double, single, all the way around until you get back over here to the other side. Okay, I've made it back around, and you should still have 24 stitches. You should always have 24 stitches every round here. So again, I'm just going to slip stitch here into my first single crochet, or first double crochet, I'm sorry, and I'm going to bring my white up. So we're doing the same thing we did before. And then I'm going to start by chaining 1. Don't clip that black off. Single crochet in the same stitch. And then I'm going to start my double crochet in the next. And single crochet in the next. And then double. And then single. Double. And single. And we're going to keep repeating this until we reach a total of on the legs. So this first round of white counts as 1, 2, 3. We're working on our third round now. So we're just starting our total now from where we just started the legs. So it's 1, 2, we're working on our third one. So keep repeating that until you hit okay, after you get your 13 rows done on the legs, remember we're just counting the legs now. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. You should have ended in a white row. Now what we're going to do is just go ahead and slip stitch into your first single crochet and then bring your black through like that. Now I'm going to go ahead and tie a little, I'm going to clip that white because I'm not going to use it anymore, and tie a little bitty knot here again, It'll be a tight one, so nothing's slipping away. There. Now I'm going to go around it, and I'm just going to hide that white there as I crochet. Hide that tail. I'm going to do 1 single crochet in every stitch of the black. So I'm going to chain 1 and go back into the same stitch. Single crochet. I'm going to go ahead and hide that white tail there as I go. And I'm going to work 1 single crochet in every stitch. So this will be the 14th round of just the leg portion. And this is just going to clean up this bottom edge. Make it look nice and clean. So I'm just going to go all the way around, 1 single crochet in every stitch until I get back to the beginning, hiding that white tail as I go. And when I get back, I should have my 24 stitches still. I guess since I'm almost there, I'm just going to keep going now, since I talk so much. Okay, now when you make it back to the end, go ahead and slip stitch into your first single crochet there, and then tie that off, and then you can clip that black yarn and hide that tail, which I'll do that in a little bit, but I'm going to go ahead and clip that white tail in there because I sewed it in and it's good. There we go. So there's one pant leg done. It's looking pretty cute if you ask me. I'm not having no more children, so I already got 5, so I'm done with children, but this sure would look cute on a little baby boy, I think. Adorable. I'll have to gift it to somebody, I guess. Okay, now we're going to do the other leg. So we're going to start with the white, since we started with the white on this leg. Now, here is the front of my pants right here. And if you flip it over, you can see the back has the seam. So you want the front facing you. And where we're going to start is, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to skip 1 stitch. So we're going to skip this double crochet here that's black. And we're going to start our white right here in this black single crochet. Now, it's if you think about it, we usually start the white with a single crochet, but since we're starting in a single crochet, we're going to start it with a double crochet. It's going to be the same. It's not going to make no difference, but so instead of doing starting like we did the white rose with starting with a double, or the white rose starting with a single, and the black rose we started them with a double, this time we're going to start the white row with a double because we're in a single crochet right here. So I'm going to chain 1, yarn over, and go back into that same stitch and double crochet, and then I'm going to single into the next, and we're just going to do that same repeat, double and single, double and single, and I'm going to repeat this over 24 stitches, or until I get to the last stitch, which we will skip the last stitch on the other side. But so just keep going around, and I'll meet you when we get over to the other side, doing your single crochet, double crochet, repeat. Okay, when you make it all the way around, I worked over 24 stitches, and I have 1 stitch left, this single crochet right here, which we're going to skip it. And I single crocheted into this last stitch, so what we're going to do is come on over and we're going to slip stitch over here into our first double crochet, but we're going to attach our black yarn now. So it's similar to what we did on the other side. So I'm going to slip stitch through there and tie in my black yarn. So pull my black yarn through, And let me look here. Yeah, I'm just going to pull my black yarn through. I'm not going to put no tie in it this time. I guess you can. I might put a little tie in it. It's wrong to show you guys to put little knots in it, I guess. Because a lot of people say that's wrong, but I'm going to do it anyways, because I always do it. It just helps to secure it. So take the tail, your black, and tie it to this long string of the white. Don't clip your white. Tie just a tiny knot. No one's ever going to see it. There we go. That way it holds it in place. And now we're going to start our pattern again. So we're going to chain one. Now we're going to go back into the same stitch in single crochet. Like that. And then we will double crochet into the next. And single crochet. And then double crochet. And single crochet. And we're going to repeat that pattern all the way around. Still should have 24 stitches. Single and double. Now we're going to do that for the same amount of rounds, 13 rounds, starting with this first one, just like we did here. So we're going to do this leg exactly the same. And there is, you can see the stitches that we skipped right here. That's in this little crotch area here. We're going to sew that up later, so don't worry about that. That's supposed to be like that. So I'm going to continue repeating these 2 rows until I reach a total of 13 of the hounds, starting with this one right here as being number 1, and we're working on number 2, and then I'll switch to the white, and that'll be number 3. So just like we did over here until we get to 13 rounds. Okay, once you get done with your 13 rows on, remember the 13 starting from the first row of the leg. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. You should have ended in a white row. Now what we're going to do is slip stitch into the first double crochet and bring that black through. And then I'm going to clip that white off here, because we're not going to use it anymore. And I'm going to do a little tie here. And then I'm going to go around it just like we did the other leg with a row of single crochet in the black. So I'm going to chain 1, go back into that same stitch, and I'm going to hide that white as I go. And I'm going to put 1 single crochet in every stitch just to clean up the bottom of the pants, just like we did on the other side. And when I make it back around, I still should have my 24 stitches. Okay, once you make it to the end of that row of single crochet, you want to slip stitch into your first single crochet. And then we can tie that off. Clip our yarn. And now let's see what we got here. I got a lot of tails to sew in, but this is what it starts to look like. Oh, super cute. Okay, what I'm going to do now, I think, is I'm going to take a piece of the black yarn and my yarn needle, and I'm going to sew up that little crotch area here. So just take it and hold it open, and just take your yarn needle and just neatly sew it together as best as you can. I'm not going to go like over, I'm just going to go kind of back and forth until it gets sewed up tight. It's really not any specific way to do it, just till it gets sewed up here. Oh, now that was embarrassing. My hook came off, or my needle came off my yarn. I'm using a big hook or a big needle to sew it, and just sew it together back and forth neatly as you can, just until that hole's sewed up. It don't take very many stitches, just a few. And then once it's all sewed up, you just want to hide these tails. So go back through. I'm going to hide them in the inside. Let's flip my pants around, and I'm going to hide my tail on the inside of these stitches here. My tail's so where I sewed. So I'm going to go ahead and get these tails hidden from where I just sewed up the crotch area there. And then I'm going to hide all my other tails. And then we'll see what else we need to do here. Okay, I got my tail sewed in. This is what it looks like so far. I got the crotch all sewed up and everything. Looks like a little pair of pants. What I'm going to do is go around the top now. And I'm going to clean up that edge with a row of single crochet too. So I didn't hide that tail because I'm just going to sew it in as I go. Now you can see the back here has the seam. You want to start on the back side, and you can start in any stitch. Go ahead and start your yarn, chain 1, and then go back into that same stitch and single crochet. And now I'm going to work 1 single crochet in every stitch all the way around until I get back to where I started. Sorry about the black yarn, but it's just a row of single crochet in every stitch, and that's going to clean up this top edge and make it look really neat so it doesn't look unfinished. I hate leaving projects looking unfinished. I always like to kind of put clean edges on everything. I don't even know why. I don't sell anything or do anything with it, but to me it just looks better that way. And if you guys are going to make the sell, I want it to look as nice. Oh, I want it to look nice as possible for you, since I'm showing you how to make it. And just continue around, putting 1 single crochet in every stitch all the way around back to the beginning. Just like that. Once you make it back to the beginning, you should have 50 stitches since we started with 50. If you don't, if you got 49, 51, don't worry about it. It's not that big of a deal. Nobody's going to notice. Don't rip it out and redo it. Just go ahead and slip stitch into that first single crochet, tie that off, hide that tail, and then we'll get started on the suspenders. Okay, for the suspenders, I actually made them in black, but I'm going to show you in white. I mean, you could do either color you want because it's going to be easier to see. I mean, the white's probably going to be a little hard on my white background, but it's going to be easier than the black. And I'm also going to show you on a shorter scale. But you want to start off with a chain of 54 for the suspenders. Now, once you get your chain of 54 done, I'm just showing you on a little scale here, you want to do a double crochet in the 4th stitch from the hook. But you want to flip your chain, and you see this little bump right here, that one loop, you want to go through that loop only. And that is going to make the side of your suspender really clean. It's not going to have a big open gaping back. And you want to go through that back bump with every stitch. So it's just 1 double crochet in every stitch. And I'm just going through that 1 loop there on the back each time. It's just that 1 loop. And if you're having trouble finding it, here's the front of your chain. If you just flip it over to the side, it's right here. You just go right up underneath it, that 1 loop, and then double crochet in it. And you want to do this for the length of the chain. 1 double crochet there and that 1 back loop there. You don't have to do that. I mean, it's not a necessity. It just makes it look a little bit cleaner. And I'll show you here in a second what I'm talking about. And if you look now, it's really clean on that side. If you would have just done it normally, there probably would have been some gapping there on your beginning chain, but since you did it that way, it's nice and clean. But you want to do that until you get to the end of the chain, and when you get to the end, you should have 52 stitches, and you want to make 2 of them exactly the same and cut off a long tail for sewing. So I did mine in black, but of course you could have did yours in any color that you wanted. Now what I'm going to do is sew them on. So I'm going to use one of my long tails here for sewing. So I'm going to get my yarn needle and I'm going to sew it to the back. And what I'm going to do is, you can kind of eyeball it the middle of the leg. That's what I kind of do. Eyeball it, but I'll probably just maybe count in from the corner here, starting in the 6th stitch from the corner, or just kind of eyeball it from the middle of the bottom of the pant leg up. Doesn't have to be perfect, but just kind of sew it on to there. And I'm just going to sew it right on. I'm actually going to sew it on the inside a little bit, right about there. Just line it up. That's the best way to do it. I'm sitting here telling you to count and stuff. Just kind of line it up like this. See how I lined it up in the middle of this pant leg? Bring it up here to the top. Sorry that it's black. Bring it in about a 1/2 inch. And then just sew it on. Make sure the wrong side of your stitches are facing you now. And that way when you flip it over to the front, the right side of your stitches will be facing you. So just sew it on like that. And it's black, but I'm just sewing it on like I normally sew on anything, you know. Just neatly back and forth until it's on there good. And you know it's not going to come off. And you want to do this to both of your straps. And I apologize that it's black. I know it's hard to see. But once you get it sewed on there and you don't think it's going to come off, you can hide that tail. And when we flip it over, now since the good side of your stitches will be facing you like that. So I'm going to go ahead and get both mine sewed on real quick. I'm going to line up my other strap from the back in the center of this leg and do the same thing. Sew it inside just a little bit, like about a 1/2 inch, and get it sewed on there. Okay, once you get your suspenders on, let me pull up my camera a bit so you can see it more. I made it, they're long enough so they can be crossed in the back. And then this one would come over to this one. And this one over to this one. You get the idea, kind of like that. And now we need to sew a button on. So I got some white buttons. You can use any color you want. They're about, I don't know, 1/2 inch buttons probably. Something like that. Doesn't have to be exactly like mine. And again, I'm just going to eyeball where to put the button. I'm going to just sew it on accordingly up about the middle of each leg here. And sew it on right here on this, in the middle of these 2 rows of double crochets. And I'm just going to use a piece of yarn. You can use regular thread if you want. And I'm going to use black, I think. So, like that. And then I'll get my other one sewed on in the proper spot. Okay, now for the bow tie. It's going to be done the same way as the straps. Only I started with the chain of 44. So now I'm going to double crochet in the 4th stitch from the hook. But I'm going to do it in the back loop there, that one loop. Just like we did for the suspender straps. It's always hard to get that first one. Just like that. And then I'm going to work my way down, putting 1 double crochet in every stitch for the length of the chain, just like we did for the suspenders. And when you get to the end, you should have a total of 42 stitches. It's not exact, don't worry about it. So just like that, all the way to the end. Okay, when you make it to the end, just go ahead and clip your yarn, tie that off, and then you're going to want to hide both these tails here on this, and then we'll make the bow tie part real quick. So we'll set that to the side, and then we'll start at the slip knot on the hook. And we're going to do a chain. Of 15, and then we're going to do 1 single crochet in the second stitch from the hook. Now if you want to flip it and go through that back part, you can, like we've been doing, but we're going to do single crochet. Go through that back loop of the second stitch, and now I'm going to work 1 single crochet in every stitch for the length of the chain, working in that back loop section there like we did before. So go ahead and do that until you get to the end. Okay, once you make it to the end, you should have 14 stitches. Now we're just going to go ahead and chain 1, turn our work, 1 single crochet right back into the very first stitch, and then 1 single crochet in every stitch across until you get to the end of the chain. And you should have 14 stitches still when you make it to the end. Chain 1 and turn. And we're going to repeat it again for a total 3 more times for a total of 5 rows of single crochet, 14 stitches at the end of each row. Okay, once you get your 5 rows done, you want to go ahead and pull up and tie that off. We got to hide those tails, but we can do that in just a little bit. Now I'm going to take a piece of red yarn, and all I'm going to do is hold it here in the back, get it right in the center of the bow, and then I'm going to start wrapping it really tight. You want to make sure it's get it in the center the best that you can. Wrap it like this. Several times. And that's going to make like a little bow. Do that until you feel like it's the center is big enough, however you want to do it, I guess. It's probably good enough for me. Clip that off. Now I'm going to take my yarn needle, wherever that went. I got a smaller one this time. That big one wasn't working out for me. And I'm going to kind of just sew it in the back here. So it doesn't come undone. Like that. And then I'm also going to use this tail to sew it on to my piece here. So you want to sew it on with the my kids are going crazy in there. You want to sew it on the right side of this facing you, and just sew it on right in the middle somewhere. Get it right in the middle. Take it, and if you didn't have enough tail left to sew it on, that's fine. You can get a new piece of yarn. Take it and get it in the center of your bow tie band here. Place it right in the center and sew it on to the back here. So it doesn't come undone. If this is just for a photo prop, you could probably put a little dab of hot glue on it and it would never come off. I always advertise hot glue for yarn because I just think it works so well. So much easier than sewing and all kinds of stuff. So but get it sewed on real tight so you know it's not going to come off, or if you choose to use the hot glue, one dab will do the job. Once you feel like it's on there pretty tight, you clip that yarn off. And then I'm going to go ahead and hide the rest of my tails on my bow tie real quick. Okay, one last thing I'm going to do with my bow tie is I'm just going to put a couple stitches kind of right here and sew it to the band, and right here and sew it to the band. Not all the way to the end, just kind of right by here. So I'm just going to go through the band and then through the bow tie like this, and just put a couple little stitches there to hold it in place. I don't want the end, I want the end to still flip out a little bit, so I just went out just about a ½ inch, 3/4 of an inch from the center, and I'll just do a couple little stitches. No one will even see them, and I'm going to do that on both sides. So there's that one, and then I'm going to do the same on the other side. Okay, one last thing you need to do with your bow tie is you either need to sew a button on the end, or what I'm going to do is get some Velcro and put a piece here and then a piece here. That way it'll be adjustable. But a button will work too. So, but that's it for the bow tie, and that's it for the whole piece. I hope that, here, I'll bring it on over here. I hope that you enjoyed my tutorial. Don't mind my piece isn't closed up because I'm going to get some Velcro. I don't have any at the moment, but set it up here. So that's kind of what it looks like. I hope you enjoyed my tutorial. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to check me out on Facebook. And if you could give this video a like and a share if you enjoyed making it. And if you did make this or anything else, you can post a picture on my Bagoday Crochet Facebook page. I'll put a link to that below in the description box.